Hello and welcome. Thank you for tuning in. This is B Movie Euphoria's lockdown streaming review. Well, not a review, recommendations. So, we are all stuck in our homes, or we're supposed to be in our homes, and the only time we go out is to, you know, scream at a homeless person or go and kill someone, which is great. But we're probably staying inside a lot and we're watching a lot of TV, and that means streaming services. That's right. So Netflix is making the big bucks right now. Really, really, they're making a lot of money. And here, I'm gonna, one second. There we go. So I'm just gonna recommend all of the streaming services that most people have, and then one that not a lot of people have. So I'm going to go through Netflix, Amazon, and Hulu, because I think a lot of people have Netflix, Amazon, and Hulu. And then I'll just read a couple from Shudder, because I have Shudder. You can get a 30-day free trial of Shudder and start watching Shudder if you like. There's a ton of movies on there, but I'll just briefly go through that. So I have my Garfield mug, and here we go. I'm going to go through Netflix number one because it's big. That's the big movie service that everybody's watching. And I looked through there, and these are all movies that I've seen. There are some movies on there that I would like to see, but these are the movies that I have seen and I recommend. So first off on the list is a movie that I think probably everyone has seen at some time or another. Tremors. I absolutely love Tremors. I think it's one of the great. I think it was actually 1990. Alex, remind me if I'm right, but I think it was. It came out in '90, and it's just so damn good. It's Kevin Bacon and Fred Ward, and I don't even know why I'm giving a synopsis of it, but because I feel like everyone has seen it. But yeah, giant sandworms in like a middle of nowhere town, and they're eating people. They can sense sound and vibrations, and they can feel people walking on the earth. And then they come and get you, and they eat you. And it's very funny and exciting. And 1990, thank you. And it's just a great movie. And there were tons of sequels, and surprisingly, they're pretty good too. They're not bad. Um, Up until Jamie Kennedy got involved, and and then they kind of got really bad. So there's a couple of those on Netflix. If you want to go whole hog into the Tremors movies, then you can. I leave that up to you, but maybe just stop at the one where they go back to the West, Back to the Future 3 style. Anyway, let's move on, because we got a lot of movies. Still on Netflix, Raising Cain is going to be another one that I really, really like. I'm a huge Brian De Palma fan. He made movies like Scarface and Carrie, and he just made some amazing films. And one of my favorite of his films that's not really talked about as much is Raising Cain. It has John Lithgow. I was about to say something that would ruin the plot, but I'm not going to say that. So it's John Lithgow playing twin brothers. One you think is good, and one you know is evil. And he's playing like 6 parts in this movie, John Lithgow. So if you like John Lithgow, you will like this movie. If you don't like him, you probably will not be able to stand this movie, because he plays about 6 parts in this film. And it's just really spooky, and it has that Brian De Palma real knack for detail and visual, just, ooh, you just love, you can just lick the screen. It's so nice. Brian De Palma also did Blow Up and The Untouchables, which I really like. Anyway, So let's move on. The Green Room is another movie on Netflix that I'd really recommend. Punk band is on tour, and the venue that they're going to play at canceled on them, so they have to get a last minute show, and it turns out to be like a neo-Nazi hangout bar kind of thing. So they perform there. They end up seeing something that they shouldn't, a murder, and bad things start happening really, really quickly. And it is terrifying. It's absolutely fucked up terrifying, and it's so much fun. And Anton Yelchin is in it, and he is just amazing, like he always is. And Patrick Stewart is in it, and he is absolutely terrifying and really, really good. So there's that one. That director has also done another film called Blue Ruin, which I also recommend. Then the Final Destination movies. There's at least 3 Final Destination movies on Netflix. I think it's like the first one, the second one, and then the one that's just called The Final Destination. So it's supposed to be the last one, but I'm pretty sure they made one after that one. But I like those movies. I like the gimmick. I like the idea that there is no actual killer. It's just fate coming after you, and there'll be like some ridiculous thing, like a ball rolls down, and then, I don't know, somebody gets electrocuted or their penis chopped off, whatever. It's just a good gimmick, and they stuck with it. And I like those movies. Also, horror movies. Let's stay on with Candyman. We just watched that for movie night. I love it. It's frightening. There's bees. It's just really terrifying. It never goes where you think it will. And I'm not going to get too into that because I've talked about that a lot recently. A newer one that just came out, I think 2018 or 19. Girl on the Third Floor. It is really, really interesting and pretty scary. It also stars CM Punk doing maybe an unintentional Bruce Campbell riff, kind of, but he's really good. He's incredibly good. It's very atmospheric and very scary. It's just about this guy who's obviously done some bad things in the past, but now he's trying to renovate this house for his wife and his baby that's on the way. But there's something going on in this house, something like frightening. That's just Punk. Okay. That's just how he is. So he's just acts like Bruce Campbell in general. So something is happening, something very creepy, and basically it's a cautionary tale not to have sex with ghosts. So think about that the next time some sweet talking, hot, chiseled ab ghost starts rubbing itself on you. Think about it. Okay, next. Dirty Harry, a Clint Eastwood classic. It was the beginning. I watched it recently, like a couple weeks ago, because I saw it was on Netflix, and I was like, I love this movie. It is extremely, almost cringingly macho, and I don't know, there's just something about it that I like. I think it's probably Clint Eastwood and how, like, just gravelly he is, and you really want to reach for that gun, you do, yeah, go ahead. He's like, Dirty Harry's getting some sexual satisfaction out of, like, killing these guys. You can tell it's a little bit weird, but he's doing this for his own kicks. As much as he's like, yeah, I was chasing that guy. I knew he was Randy because he had a boner and an axe in one hand. Anyway, it's a great movie, great classic film. Check it out if you haven't. So, I talked about Final Destination movies. They also have pretty much all, if not all, of the Police Academy movies, which they vary in how good they are. But I think you're safe with like the first four because you've got Gutenberg, Steve Gutenberg. You've got Hightower. I'm trying to remember these movies because I haven't watched them in a while, but I remember I liked them. You have Michael Winslow who does the voices and you know all that kind of stuff. Moving on, there's also at least three Resident Evil movies. I kind of soft recommend those because the first one is pretty good. Um, and then they all just kind of okay, they're good. We there's zombies, there's gunfights, but it's really Mila Jovovich that makes those movies. And if you can really if you can believe in her, you'll like all of those films. So, oh, this is one that I really like, and it didn't get enough attention, but I thought it was an incredibly fun time. A Steven Soderbergh film called Haywire with Gina Carano, and I hope I'm saying that right. But it is just this incredible, super fast-paced, very simple plot about a agent being double-crossed, and she just has to like fight her way out. The whole movie is just her fighting her way out of being killed, out of being attacked, and there's a shitload of people in it, and it's just this really fast-paced, fun, great movie, and Gina is just really great. She was recently in the Mandalorian, Baby Yoda and Friends. So let's see. Oh, next, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. I know this was like a big budget, ridiculous movie, but so the first time I saw Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, the Kevin Costner one, I was living in Mexico and I saw it in a Mexican theater, obviously, and for the first time, I watched a movie with English subtitles. It was in Spanish, and I was reading English subtitles, and I was just kind of really wowed, and I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. But what I really recommend about the movie is that basically the villain is the Sheriff of Nottingham, obviously, in the Robin Hood story. But in this version, and only this version, do we have Hans Gruber playing the Sheriff of Nottingham. And you can say that it's different, you can say that, he's doing something different, but it is Hans Gruber playing the bad guy in a Robin Hood movie. And that's why I recommend it, because he's so amazing in this movie. I can't remember his name right now, but you know who I'm talking about. You do. Okay, Prince of Thieves. Kill Bill 1 and 2. Everyone has seen it. Another one that is just going to make you feel good every time you watch it. You're gonna be and enjoying it the whole time. There's a couple Stephen Chow movies, and if you've ever watched a Stephen Chow movie like Kung Fu Hustle or Shaolin Soccer, and Alan Rickman, Alan Rickman, that's who it is. Yes, Alan Rickman, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, Sheriff of Hans Gruberman. Okay? Anyway, Stephen Chow. He made Kung Fu Hustle, which I really love, and he made quite a few movies before that were just as good, and one that I recommend, if you can jump over the hurdle, like the Parasite crew said, if you can jump over the hurdle of subtitles, Love on Delivery is a great film mixing like romantic comedy with kung fu and still being really extremely entertaining. So I really love that one, and I think there's another one, but I cannot read it. Anyway, anyway, that's it for Netflix. So there isn't a lot for Netflix, honestly. As far as like good older movies, you have got to go to Amazon Prime. That is where B movies abound. Cult films are on there. Great stuff. So I have a lot written down for Amazon. So I'm gonna try to get through these a lot faster than I did the Netflix ones because there's a shit ton on here. I'm honestly, you could go on Amazon, you could click on your favorite movie, and then go to customers also watch, and you'll find like a shit ton of movies that are good. But these are just the ones that I've seen and I recommend. And I'm gonna start with where am I? Oh, okay. Here we go. On Prime we have, and here's a newer movie that I saw at the UICA, which is sadly closed right now, but it'll reopen. Let the Corpses Tan. This is a newer film, a French film, but it was shot to kind of resemble the spaghetti westerns. So it's this very surreal French spaghetti western involving a gold heist, and there's a lot of piss. I know that doesn't sound good, but there's a lot of yes. There's okay, there's not a lot of piss. There's a decent amount of piss. I'm not going to tell you any more than that, but it is really highly recommended, and it's fun. It's beautiful to watch also. Candyman 3 is on Prime. I haven't seen that, but it's Candyman 3. Okay, here's one that used to be on cable a lot, and I loved it because I'm a huge Crocodile Dundee fan. And so I loved Paul Hogan. And so this movie came out called Almost an Angel, and it played almost weekly on like Comedy Central or USA or any of those channels. And it's Paul Hogan playing a guy who's kind of like a grifter, kind of a con man dude, and he thinks he gets hit by a semi truck. Like maybe he does, but it just knocks him out cold, and he believes now that he is dead and actually an angel. And so instead of doing his con man shtick, he starts helping people, and he gets involved in like armed conflict, thinking that he's not going to get hurt or anything. And it's just a really kind of funny movie. He starts helping this crippled guy who hates everybody. That's not the right way to say it. A handicapped guy who hates everything, played by Elias Cotes. And they just have a really good relationship. And it's just a real decent movie from Crocodile Dundee, who he's a fun dude. Anyway, I went too long on that, but Bubba Hotep is on Prime. And Bubba Hotep is retired Elvis, still alive, living in a retirement home, and fighting an ancient mummy that's sucking the souls out of other retired people's buttholes. So Elvis, JFK, who has had his memory removed, he wasn't actually killed either. He's had his memory removed, and so it's JFK, Bubba Hotep, no, JFK, Elvis, fighting an undead mummy and stopping him from sucking the souls out of old people's butts. But a lot of people have seen that, but if you haven't seen it, just the first like 10 minutes of the movie are worth everything, because it's just him laying in his hospital bed talking about how he's getting old and there's some weird thing growing on his on the shaft of his penis. Okay, so next we have Men at Work, which I haven't seen in a while, but it's got Charlie Sheen and Emilio Estevez playing friends. They're not brothers, but they're garbage men who they're just garbage men, and then they get involved in some mob plot, and they have to hide a dead body, and it's a good brothers movie, even though they're not playing brothers. Dead Pit. So this I'm gonna throw out because I remember a couple of us were watching Dead Pit. Alex and Sam, I think you saw Dead Pit too. It was good, wasn't it? I think it was good. I remember us saying Dead Pit a lot, so I think something about Dead Pit. It has a great cover, by the way. It's just like the dead pit coming out of the pit, and it was good. I think either it was good or we just had like a combined good time watching it. Uh, and next is this movie. I've Okay, maybe you don't. All right, maybe Alex wasn't there, but we did watch Dead Pit at some point. Southern Comfort. So a lot of people compare Southern Comfort to Deliverance because it has a very similar plot of people, ordinary people going out. Oh, good. Yeah, that's. It did have so. All right, I'm jumping back to Dead Pit, but it did have a VHS that when it came out, the eyes kind of like blinked on and off, and Alex has that. Anyway, so Southern Comfort. People compare it to Deliverance because it's people who are going out in kind of the woods where apparently they don't belong and bad things happen. When you go out into the country and you city folk, man, you don't come on down. Okay, that's enough of that. But in this one, it is. I think they're National Guard. It's like they're on a training mission. They go out into the. They go out into the. I think it's Appalachian. I'm sorry, I don't remember a lot of this, but there are a lot of kind of backwoods hillbilly type folks, and they upset them by, for some reason, one of the National Guard fellows brings like a lot of fake ammo. And so when it was at your house, Sam, I remember. Okay. And so when the hillbilly types start pissing them off, they scare them by like shooting off a bunch of fake ammo, which of course you're threatening people with fake ammo. They don't know if they're getting shot at or not. The hillbilly people, I hope I'm saying that correctly, they fight back and they chase who's ever left of this National Guard team. They chase them down. They're killing them off one by one, and it's just really freaky, and you don't know if anybody's going to make it out alive. But Southern Comfort, it doesn't sound like it's going to be an extremely intriguing, fun, exciting movie, but it absolutely is. It's freaky. Things happen that you do not expect at all. Oh, yes. Okay, we did watch Dead Pit right before Wasteland. R.I.P. for the time being, Wasteland. Okay, so Southern Comfort, really great. Now let's go back to horror. I'm telling you, there's a lot on Prime. Maniac Cop 2. Yes. Maniac Cop 2, really, really good. Great. If you've seen Maniac Cop, you know what it's about. It's basically a back from the dead, wrongfully accused killer cop that comes back to basically kill everybody. No matter what you're doing, you could be jaywalking, you could be ripping the label off your mattress, and he will be there, and he's gonna kill you. So Maniac Cop 2, maybe better than the first one. Maybe. Either way, it's the only one you have access to. So watch that one. And next, we have a classic another one that everyone's seen, but I'm going to recommend it because it's there, and sometimes it's not there, but Roadhouse. Yes, another extremely macho, extremely, like, I don't feel pain, all I feel is anger and and I'll crush your brain and fuck guys like you in prison and stuff. So, great movie, but it's also hilarious, and it's got Sam Elliott. Strong Sam Elliott vibes. Sam Elliott is not wearing a mustache in Roadhouse. At least, I don't think so. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but even without the mustache, he is really sexy in this movie. He is, at one point, he takes the girl that Swayze, uh, oh yeah, he takes Swayze's girlfriend that he just started dating, and he just starts dancing with her, and he's just like, I'm probably going to take you away from and no one feels bad about it because it's like, that's Sam Elliott. If Sam Elliott like came over to your table at a bar, he's like, hey, could I take your wife for a little spin around the dance floor? You'd be like, yes, please, because we're going to have such better sex tonight because we're both going to be thinking about what is about to happen. Anyway, Roadhouse, very good movie. Not just a catchphrase. Okay, another newer film, Brawl in Cell Block 99. I remember I rented this movie because I watched Bone Tomahawk, and that movie is devastatingly good. And so this is the same director, Craig T. Zoller, I think. And I was watching this with my roommate, and it's Vince Vaughn, so you think, okay, it's going to be pretty okay. But he gives a really dead-on, really dead-on, just no-nonsense performance in this film. He plays a guy who's kind of screwed over. He's a former criminal that gets brought back to do a job, and because he doesn't do well enough in the job, he is basically sent to prison, and he is threatened by someone outside of the prison. We need you to kill this guy who is in the deepest, most hardcore version of lockdown in prison. We need you to find him, get into that section, meaning he has to beat the shit out of everyone he can just to get into this highest level of security in the prison, and then kill that guy, or his wife and unborn child is going to be... No, actually, in particularly, they threaten to just kill his unborn child. That is the threat that they say. So they're like, you gotta get all the way into the deepest, dankest, worst part of the prison, kill this dude, or we have someone that's ready to kill your unborn child. Fucked up. Really fucked up premise. Extremely well put together. And what I was saying is, I started watching it with my roommate at the time, and we were just watching it when things start getting serious. There was a scene where he literally like fell off the couch because it was so just, oh God. And there are a lot of moments in this film. So I highly recommend that. Moving on. Another newer film. This one came out 2 years ago. Yes. And I was just talking about this, but Bad Samaritan. Very fun. Extremely... Okay, so in this film, this kind of attractive young British man who works as a valet at a restaurant, he has this scam going with his friend, and they take people's keys when they go and park their cars, and then they quickly find out where they live, and they open their garage doors, and they raid their house for all the good shit. But in doing this, they take David Tennant's keys, and they go to his house, check everything out, and then the guy sees in one of the rooms is a woman tied up, like clearly distraught, held there against her will, and he's like, what the fuck? I have to get the keys back. We have to do this. And so he doesn't have enough time to help her there. He goes back, he tells the police. The police are brought to the house, and there's no girl. So, throughout the entire movie, he's trying to find the girl, help her escape, and it was fun because David Tennant is so much fun, and he's got that, like, really scary energy. It's something you don't really, or haven't seen a lot from him, because obviously he was Doctor Who. He was also in the remake of Fright Night, which that was kind of up in the air whether or not that was good. But Bad Samaritan, moving on. Amazon Prime. Let's keep going. Night of a Thousand Cats. Great, like, 1 hour long movie about a guy, like a playboy, who lives in a giant mansion and picks up women in his helicopter and then brings them back to have a luxurious meal and be, like, treated like a queen and then fed to his cats. Basically, that's the plot of the movie. And he does this quite a few times. That's it. But it's kind of a good movie. Okay, Surf Nazis Must Die. Surf Nazis Must Die! Yes. And with that title, you're gonna think, no movie can live up to a title. Yes. But no movie could live up to a title so good as Surf Nazis Must Die. But I urge you, and I push you to watch Surf Nazis Must Die, because it is amazing. It has a great soundtrack. It's got incredible characters. It's incredibly fun. Yes! Surf Nazis must. Okay, that's just a taste of what you'll be getting. Yes. Just a taste of what you'll be getting if you watch Surf Nazis Must Die. Number one, there are... Yes. Splay the love onto Surf Nazis Must Die. Yes. It's just incredibly good, and I'm not going to ruin it by saying anything about it, because you should just see the title and just drop right into it. It's a trauma film. It's, oh my god. It's a trauma movie. It's an incredible, fun, exciting, wild, there's lots of surfing, there's lots of people dying left and right, but it also has a plot, which is a nice bonus for a movie called Surf Nazis Must Die, and it's just incredible. I'm not going to tell you anything, because you need to go into it like I went into it, like I fell into it, and I think the first time I watched it was when I played it for a movie night, and I was like, this is like a do or die movie. People are going to love it, or they're going to hate it, and they ate it because it was so good. It was delicious. Anyway, so that's one you have to see. Also, in the same vein, another trauma film, Class of Nukem High. All of the Class of Nukem Highs are incredible. They're so much fun. This one was the beginning of just disgusting, wonderful high school, and basically how your high school was, but just add a little toxic waste. And, and some creeping creature in the background that you're always wondering, when is it going to come out and fucking eat something? And so, those two incredible movies, Ferrero Rocher. Okay. Alright, we're going to cool down. We're going to get out of that for a second. But there's a duo of films starring the late... David Carradine. Two movies. Okay, stay with me, because they're called Future Zone and Future Force. Now, you've never heard of this movie, either of these movies, because they're kind of bad. But here's the kicker. In both of these movies, David Carradine has a robot arm that can pop off of his wrist and go and punch people in the face. So, Future Zone, Future Force, David Carradine, robot arm, killing bad guys, or just, maybe nominally not so great dudes. But his hand, he has a remote control for his hand, and it pops off, and it punches people in the face. What else do you need in a movie other than that? Not a lot, okay? Not for me. I see a removable hand that pops off and punches people in the face, and I'm in. That's all I need. Okay, enough about that. This is a movie that we talked about on a past review. It's on Amazon, and it's great. And it is my Mitchell. Yes. So Mitchell, starring Joe Don Baker. It's great with obviously Mystery Science Theater backing and everything, but it's kind of great by itself because it's just about. I know Alex loves this movie, and it's just about a total loser cop that just kind of bumbles through a case, drinks beer, has baby oil by his bed, and he's just a big pile of crap. He really is. What would your mama say? Yeah, but Mitchell is super big piece of shit, but he is he's basically Dirty Harry if Dirty Harry was just a giant piece of shit that wasn't good at anything. He's not good at like tailing people. He's not good at like being intimidating or being a cop or he goes to a crime scene. He's just like I think he's just like ashing on everything and just burping and I think an empty beer can falls out of his jacket while he's at the crime scene. I might no, that might have been the movie that we saw not too long ago. Anyway, Mitchell. Here's another classic for you on Amazon Prime. Another movie night classic, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. Yes, if it's without the MST3 commentary, it's the uncut version too. So John Saxon doesn't appear from the movie. Very good. That's great because we all need more John Saxon in our life. So Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. That's the movie in the title, except there's so much more, and it's kind of a spoof. It's kind of just being its own film, and it's all over great, and tomatoes rolling and attacking people and then biting them, and it's wonderful. I love Attack the Killer Tomatoes. I know I'm recommending a lot of movies that we've done movie nights for, but they're great and they're on Amazon. The Undertaker. And The Undertaker is Joe Spinell's last film that he ever made. And Joe Spinell, I think I'm getting that name right. He was the star of Maniac, which is one of the greatest horror films ever. And he also made this film called The Undertaker. He was clearly drunk through a lot of making the film, and he slurs a lot of his lines, but it really works for some reason, and it's atmospheric and just dark, creepy, bad vibes, but in a good way. All right, so here are some classics. Planet of Dinosaurs. Here's a movie you can watch with your kids, get them entertained, but also give them some information about dinosaurs that they may not know. Like, if they see you, they will kill you right away. And by the way, this movie is called Planet of Dinosaurs. It's not called Planet of the Dinosaurs, which I think would be correct English. It's just called Planet of Dinosaurs. So it's basically I don't really remember the plot, but somehow a spaceship full of people end up on Planet of Dinosaurs, and they're just kind of looking for stuff and things, and then dinosaurs happen, and they start attacking them left and right. There's a great scene of a Triceratops impaling this guy, and it's like a lot of claymation, and he's like, oh god, and then he falls off a hill. So, Planet of Dinosaurs. Next, one of my favorite movies of all time. If you have not seen this, forget all the rest of the movies that I've recommended. Just watch this movie, Chopping Mall. Chopping Mall. It is basically a bunch of teenagers spend the night in the mall, which I've always wanted to do, which I've tried. It doesn't really work. But these teenagers pull it off. The sad thing is, this particular mall has security robots, which, unfortunately, on that night of all nights, the electrical tower gets hit with lightning, and this activates the security robots into becoming insane, and then they start killing everyone, starting with Dick Miller, sadly, and they just roll through, and they're just like robot foot soldiers, like just zapping people's heads off, killing people left and right. Chopping Mall is so much fun. On top of everything, Paul Bartel and Mary Warnoff make a cameo appearance as their characters from the great, great movie Eating Raoul. See that if you can. It's wonderful. And they basically play their same characters. But that was great, but they didn't even need to be in the movie to make it any better. It's so good. It's so 80s cheesy, fucking just great dialogue. Jim Wynorski, thank you for Chopping Mall. Next, another classic, Night of the Demons, is on Amazon. And Night of the Demons, another just great 80s teens in peril. A bunch of teens go to an old creepy house and have like a Halloween party, but the girl that lured them all there is basically a demon, and they all get infected with the demon curse, and they're all fucked up. And there's this great dance where I think it's Angela? Alex, help me with this. I'm not sure. But she does an incredible... Is that her? Okay. But she does this incredible interpretive dance to a Bauhaus song. I think it's Stigmata Martyr. And it's just this really incredible, fun dance. And I avoided these movies for the longest time because the VHS covers were really creepy. And it was always like, Angela, thank you. And it was always like demon woman holding like a martini glass with a skull in it. She's like, I'm gonna eat you. But they're really, really good, and this one is amazing. So, Night of the Demons on Amazon. I have a lot to get through, so maybe I won't explain all these, but Coffee, the incredible Pam Grier exploitation film. Pam Grier is just an amazing actress. Like, everything she's done is awesome, but Coffee in particular is just hard as nails, fun, quality filmmaking. Tromeo and Juliet, another Troma film, but this one actually respects Shakespeare in a weird, bizarre way, and it's Shakespeare, but with blood and guts and a car flipping that we've seen flip 1,000 times. Okay, let's just get through the last of these. Let's see. Miami Connection. Here's another movie that's incredibly, really, really bad, but it's so much fun to watch. Miami Connection. This was a passion project, and Alex, please find out who directed this movie. But he like produced it, starred in it, put his karate studio up for mortgage so he could pay for this movie, and it is really, really bad, but so entertaining and so much fun. And so it's all about this guy and his friends that are all going to college, and they're all orphans. And that's how they're all friends. Friends forever. They all have a band together. They all do martial arts together. But there's a bad element. So there's a very bad, evil gang that's, dealing coke. And they get mixed up with them. There's fights. There's dancing. There's songs. There's incredible music. Friends forever. Loyalty and honesty. And that's just a little bit. Okay. We're going to keep going. So how about here are a couple newer ones that have come out recently that I've really liked. The 47 Meters Down Uncaged, the sequel to 47 Meters Down with Mandy Moore. This one was just ramping up the B movie aspect of the films, and it's okay. Why cake him? Why cake him for Miami Connection? So he put his heart and soul into that movie, and it might be bad, but it's also incredible. So I highly recommend that. Okay, so 47 Meters Down Uncaged, great. Um, Basically, girls being chased by a couple of blind sharks that can only hear, and it's very fun. Another one, Strangers Prey at Night, another horror sequel that I think is better than the original. This just had a lot of things going on. It had the weird, creepy Manson-esque stranger killer people, but this time a lot more happens than just like a couple in a house. This is things span out, and you get to see these more things happen in Strangers Prey at Night. I just enjoyed it. It was a great like popcorn sneak beer into the movie theater and watch the movie. Fantastic. That's how you gauge a movie. When you sneak the beer in there and you drink all of it and you enjoyed it, that's a good. Okay, then finally back to Bone Tomahawk, because I mentioned that earlier. That's also on Amazon. Bone Tomahawk, great Western horror, fantastic Craig T. Zahler film, and incredibly fun. All right, let's move on finally to another streaming service. We went very deep. There's so much more on Amazon that you can enjoy. Sometimes I spend a little bit too much time going in there. That's why I'm trying to recommend a few to say, hey, maybe stop searching so much and just pick one of these. Anyway, let's go to Hulu, which they don't have a huge selection of films, but they did have a few mangiamos. So, number one, I'm going to recommend, and this is a movie everybody's seen, of course, but I love 28 Days Later. I saw it like 5 times in the theater when it came out. Scary, beautifully shot, even though it was like on digital video. And it introduced us to Cillian Murphy, who is incredible. It's just really good, scary. The first movie that came along and scared me in a long time, and I recommend that. Still Smokin', great Cheech and Chong movie. All of their movies were pretty good up until like the Corsican Brothers, and then they did Things Are Tough All Over, which everything kind of petered off. But Still Smoking is great. I think Pee Wee Herman's in that one. I'm pretty sure Pee Wee Herman's in it. Yes, he is. He definitely is. Another great movie, Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. So we all know who Elvira is. She's the horror host with the most, and she's made 2 movies, 2 full-length movies that are both really, really good. And Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, he is in next movie. That's what I said, isn't it? Oh no, I said Still Smoking. Shit. Okay, so maybe he's not in Still Smoking, but I think Still Smoking might be the one where they go to Amsterdam and it's basically just a live show. So the last half is a live. Anyway, that one's still good. That's the last good one, though. But let's go back. Elvira. She made a movie. This was the movie she made in the 80s, or might be 1990 as well. But it's just her moving into this town. I think she inherited a house or a movie house. Yes. It's really good. I might not remember a lot of it, but it's Elvira. Everybody, of course, is in this town that she moves into is very wary of her, but she wins us all because she's Elvira, and she is incredible, and she's a larger-than-life personality, and we all love her and continue to love her because she's just fantastic. Anyway, Elvira. Another movie, newer film, but not too new, but Mom and Dad with Nicolas Cage and Selma Blair. Mom and Dad, not exactly a zombie movie, but it's basically the plot of the movie is so great and the execution of the film is so fantastic that it's such a good movie. John Waters recommended this movie. So, if that does anything for you, it's basically every parent in the world, something happens, and then every parent in the world immediately wants to kill their kids. And that's it. That's throughout the movie. Every parent killing their kids, going after their children, killing them. It's insane. Heathers is also on Hulu. Watch Heathers. I was just introduced to Heathers the musical, which is incredible. I have not. I've seen only bits and pieces, but it looks amazing. Blade of the Immortal, Takashi Miike. Really, really great. Based on a graphic novel, I think. Somebody's gonna tell me I'm wrong, but really, really good. This guy cannot die, and the Clove Hitch Killer. This is one of those kind of didn't get a lot of attention, but very entertaining, extremely good serial killer film. It's basically the BTK, but a couple of kids find out that this guy might be involved he might be this killer, but they don't say BTK. It's basically a carbon copy of the BTK for this film, but it's very freaky and it will get under your skin. Okay, so that's all for Hulu. There's not a lot. So that's basically it. I'm going to do a couple for Shudder because I recommend that you get Shudder just because it has a great, huge horror selection, and I think right now they're offering like 30 days free, and then you can just cancel it right away if you have to. So here we're going to go through Shudder real quick. The Hills Have Eyes, great movie, really fucked up, really freaky. Escape from New York, one of my favorite films of all time. Like, I love Escape from LA as well, but Escape from New York, Snake Plissken, diving into a New York City that has become a prison. He has to dive into the city, retrieve the president that's being held by hundreds of evil dudes with guns. The leader, played by Isaac Hayes, who does an incredibly good fucking job. And then he has to get out of there somehow. It's just great. Watch Escape from New York. If you're going to watch any John Carpenter movie, I'm going to say it, that's the movie. And They Live, which is very good. Okay, The Furies, which I reviewed not too long ago, so I'm not going to say too much about that, but I really enjoyed it. Hell Night with Linda Blair. It's basically Halloween, and they're with a bunch of other kids, and they're checking out this very creepy abandoned house, and then something really fucked up and really freaky comes and attacks all of them, and the kills are very disturbing and very fucked up. Another Craig T. Zahler, but he only wrote this one. This is Puppet Master, The Littlest Reich. So again, this is for Shudder. Get it for 30 days and then cancel it, but definitely see this movie. This is based on the Puppet Master films from Full Moon, also Empire, which are basically these little dolls that come and they kill you, and one has like a drill on his head, and one has like 6 guns, but it also has 6 arms, and it's always like, kill you, bah, bah, bah. So, this isn't really a reboot. It's kind of like an add-on to the Puppet Master films, even though these dolls are kind of a little bit different. They're all, I guess they're Nazis. But anyway, it's great. There's a lot of Tom Lennon from Reno 911 is in it. And I don't think he helped write this, but he's definitely great in it. So, Puppet Master, Littlest Reich. Deadbeat at Dawn was one of the early films that I showed at movie nights. I had not seen it, but I had only heard that it is this incredible film, Deadbeat at Dawn, by Jim Van Bebber, who was this very independent like guerrilla filmmaker, and I read this whole like multiple articles on how basically for this film, Daddy Beat at Dawn, he filmed it with all of his money. He did all of his own stunts, and there are some really incredible stunts, including he gets dragged across a brick wall by a car, and that's clearly him. He scales a wall. It's basically about gang stuff. He gets in a gang that they want him dead for one reason or another. He has to fight back. I think something bad happens to his girlfriend, and it's just like revenge time. It's just kill everybody, no questions asked. Next up, fantastic movie of the year a couple years ago, Mandy with Nicolas Cage. Incredible, fucked up, psychedelic masterpiece, Mandy. I don't know. I'm not sure how that's a horror film, but Mandy is definitely a horror film. Nicolas Cage and his wife live out in the middle of nowhere, and they have this kind of idyllic house in the woods, and it's just great. There's so much beautiful color and some bad, again, Manson-esque kind of cultish people see his wife, and bad things happen. Nicolas Cage goes nuts. He meets a cheddar goblin, and they live happily ever after, basically. And that's that movie. So, it's fine. Go see it. Nothing freaky happens at all. Oh, this is a movie that's on there that my friend James and I went to. Yes, Shudder is horror-centric. They do slip in. Yeah, listen to Alex. But yeah, so there are some non-horror films on Shudder. Anyway, my friend James and I went to the Traverse City Film Festival because he worked on this great film called Relaxer, and we went to see one of their films that they were showing in the film festival was this movie, Ruin Me, which was, I think it was shot in and around Muskegon, actually. And there's a lot of similarities to Saw because this girl, it's just multiple people waking up and they have to survive certain traps. But one that stuck in my head really, it just stuck in there and was really freaky was these two people wake up and they're like, one's in the ocean and one's outside of the ocean, but they're connected by this rope, which is, they did shoot it in Muskegon, okay. But if one goes up to the beach, the other one is dragged into the ocean. So the only way to free either of them is to get to a key that's way out on the beach. And by doing that, they're pulling the other into the ocean, like under the water. So they have to get this key. And it was just this really incredible, tense moment. And I remember that one has a really good ending. So Ruin Me. Check out Ruin Me. Number one. One of my favorite movies of all time, Dario Argento's Deep Red. I really love it. I've seen it too many times now. I have to like not see it for like a few years, but it's so good. It's so classy. It's just like classy and bloody and just like all kinds of. Oh, so Alex auditioned for Ruin Me. That's cool. Yeah, I wish I could have been a part of it too. Anyway, Deep Red, great kills, great jazzy score and everything. There are a few of the Halloween movies on there. Halloween is great. Halloween 2 is great. Halloween 3 is wonderful. Halloween 4, I still like. It kind of goes down from there. But it jumps back up a little bit at Rob Zombie, and then it goes. Anyway, some of those movies are on there. Creepshow 2, which is just as good as Creepshow 1, is on there. Phenomena, Dario Argento's Phenomena. If you love The Labyrinth, if you love The Labyrinth, and you thought that was just a wonderful film, you will maybe like Phenomena, because it has Jennifer Connelly, it has dream sequences, it has a little creature that may or may not be killing everyone. It has flies. She has the power to command flies and bees. And there's a monkey with a switchblade. Or no, it's a straight razor. And Dario Nicolodi is in it. And it's very good. All right, we're getting down to the wire now. In the Mouth of Madness, another fantastic John Carpenter movie, basically about a book or a series of books that's driving people insane, and an insurance guy has to go and investigate the writer, and that's it. And then a bunch of H.P. Lovecraft inspired shit goes down. Yes, Donald Pleasance. Love you, Donald Pleasance. And it's fantastic. It's scary. The first time I saw it, I had no idea what to expect, and I couldn't sleep for a very long time. The movie I mentioned before, Joe Spinell's Maniac, really dark, scary movie, and really shows the grittiness and the sliminess of New York. And effects by Tom Savini, and fantastic movie. Last but not least, we're all dealing with it, folks. Luigi Cozzi's Contamination. So this is another movie that is so bad, it's pretty good, a little bit. It deals with, it's so stupid. It was clearly meant to be like a clone of, yes, Contamination. It's meant to be a clone of Alien, because there are eggs in it, and the eggs like kind of like open up. But it's not really explained what they are or what they do, but they shoot goo, and if the goo hits you, your stomach explodes. That's what happens in the movie. So you don't want to get, just like in real life right now, if you get the goo on you, it's, maybe your stomach won't explode, but we're living in contamination world right now. But that's pretty much it. Tons on Amazon, some on Netflix. Those are the movies that I've seen, I liked, I enjoyed. Thank you guys so much for watching. Enjoy, staying in, because it's a vacation for everybody. This is like snow day, but without Chris Elliott. And, it's scary, but every day is scary. You could walk outside and, you get attacked by a cougar. And this is just basically another thing that we have to deal with. And eventually we'll just all go back to our lives, and we'll forget that all this happened. And, maybe we'll be a little nicer to each other. You never know. Think about it. Anyway, that's all. Those are my recommendations. Thank you so much for watching. I love all of you, and stay safe. Wash the hands, cough it up, and good night.